Hello, it's good to be with you again today, and we've got another reflection taken from the YouVersion Bible app. But first of all, good to just remember about this time of the year, back in 1995, we were just recovering from a bit of a trauma in our family. You can tell the story.
Which one are we talking about? We've heard a few traumas. I think you're talking about Marion when now there'd been a bout of gastro going around, as I remember it, and a lot of people in the church were not well, and Marion was not well as part of that, but hers dragged on and on and on for
weeks, and she was getting thinner and thinner, poor thing.
Yeah, and a lot of pain.
She was in grade 5 at the time. So, yeah.
And I remember talking to our doctor one evening and said, if she's not well in the morning, we'll just have to do something, take her to hospital or something. So the middle of that night, Marion woke up with a lot of pain, and I just had this sick feeling saying, Jenny, you've got to get her to the hospital now. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and we rang our doctor. He said, take her to the kids. That's all you can do.
Yeah, kids' hospital.
Yeah, and so off we went in the middle of the night to...
Me
and Marion, to the Royal Children's Hospital. And I remember Marion walking into emergency and she said, Mum, this is the worst night of my life. She just absolutely felt terrible. It turned out that she'd had a burst appendix and she was really sick. And it took a while to find out what was wrong because her appendix was in the wrong place. And so it was all a bit of a drama, difficult thing.
Which my uncle had nearly died because his appendix was on the wrong side as well.
And I hadn't been aware of that was an issue. So I didn't have the information to give the doctors. So it was all a bit terrible.
What's important about that is there was a sense in which, even now as we look back, we would say salvation came to our house that day. God looked after our daughter, even though the doctors were horrified at how ill she was and amazed that she was alive and how much pus they took out of her. So it was all a bit heroic.
Big drama,
not heroic. Or Marion was heroic. It was just a terrible time.
Yep.
Links to our verse, I think.
Yes, that's right. So taken today from Acts chapter 4, verse 12, where it says, Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved.
Well, an interesting verse. When you take it out, if you take it out of context, because we often read that and think, it's about going to heaven when you die. But in the context, it's about Peter and John healing the man who was lame, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the teachers of law all getting really upset what was happening. How come these Galilean fishermen are here teaching people and doing all these amazing things? And so they arrest them and put them in jail because of that.
And then they're brought up in front of the courts the next day saying, please explain what's going on here. You've done something blasphemous.
And they say, what? Are we being brought up on a charge because we were caring for a person and he was healed? Is that what you're getting upset about? And you're saying, hey, you guys, Jesus did this. In his name, this man was healed. Salvation comes through Jesus. And that's the context for this verse.
Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we may be saved.
Now, it's true, Jesus saves us from death. There's no doubt about that. But there is a very real sense in which God is at work in our lives day by day, bringing his healing and his wholeness to our lives. And it's important for us to call out to him, to ask him to be with us and assist us and lead us through difficult times. Sort of fits into our period of time now, doesn't it?
Right.
In the middle of our COVID-19. There would be many people around the world, particularly in our Western world, who would think calling on the name of Jesus at this point would be pretty antiquated, old, barbarian maybe thing to be doing. And yet we have a real strong understanding that Jesus is still alive, God is still at work in this world, and actually the future and the solution and the way through the crisis of COVID-19 comes through following Jesus and his teachings and his way of living in the world.
Actually, I would dare to disagree with you, Stephen. I think people are crying out to God's help and need at this time more than they might normally, because they can feel like this is out of control. What are we going to do?
They might be doing that, but they wouldn't be necessarily saying we need to call on the name of Jesus. So maybe we can agree to just disagree. But yeah, I think that's true, and that's their prayer, wouldn't it? And there's a prayer of Peter and John on that day. Here were the religious leaders of Jesus' day, well, past Jesus' day, just after he's resurrected, who didn't like what God was doing in the world. And so we need to be careful about the same thing ourselves.
Yep. Food for thought for today.